Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Renegade Immortal based on novel. So let's start. The white-robed woman whispered, "You can't come out before the fourth sword takes shape." She waved her hand and the lightning sword immediately collapsed. The old man backed up and created only 200 swords this time. He charged toward her with even more excitement in his eyes than before. Right now, the last wave of swords arrived. A thunderous roar came out of the collection of swords and the fourth dragon took shape. The white-robed woman's eyes were calm as she moved her hand. The four golden dragons coiled around her. She pointed at one with her finger and it immediately collapsed, revealing a simple celestial sword. This point with her finger caused the death aura to spread to her face. The 2,000 years of celestial energy had almost all been used up. If it wasn't for the fact that she needed a large amount of celestial energy to transfer Juyi's soul, she could have killed that old man with one finger. Second rain celestial sword, sword spirit, appear. The celestial sword released a golden light, then a golden orb came out of its blade. The death aura on the woman spread even more. She quickly grabbed the golden orb and threw it toward the dragon that had a purple mass on its forehead. After losing the golden orb, the celestial sword lost its sheen and fell from the sky. When the sword fell, all of the surrounding cultivators' eyes focused on it. The old man charged forward again. This time, he formed seals and 10 swords appeared before him. He let out a roar and quickly charged forward. Just at this moment, someone suddenly charged out from the crowd. This person was the middle-aged man that had fought with Wang Lin and Kai Hu. The moment he charged out, 3 blood-colored crystals appeared around him. Under his control, they charged toward the old man. The old man looked toward the person and waved his hand at him without a word. The middle-aged man shouted, "Killing intent blood crystal, explode." Bang! The blood crystals exploded with 3 loud bangs, and in the middle of the explosions a black vortex appeared. A giant hand poked out from the vortex and reached toward the old man. The old man's face changed when he saw the hand. He shouted, "Tian Yunzi, if you keep me from taking the celestial sword, our 2 sects will have a bloodbath for 1,000 years when I get back." Right after saying that, he dodged to the side and quickly charged toward the white-robed woman. The hand quickly chased after him. A very ancient voice came from the vortex. "Ling Qianhu, the celestial sword belongs to those who are fated to have it. If you can have it, then you are fated." Tian Yunzi. Wang Lin's body trembled. He stared at the vortex with a mysterious light in his eyes and silently pondered. The old man's face was gloomy. He moved as fast as lightning and in the blink of an eye appeared before the white-robed woman. He quickly reached out toward the simple celestial sword that was forming. However, just as he was about to grab hold of the sword, another person charged out of the crowd even faster than the last. He grabbed the celestial sword before the old man could and quickly escaped. "Ha ha, Ling Qianhu, I, Tian Mozi, am not greedy. Of the 4 celestial swords, I'll only take one goodbye." This person was that middle-aged scholar. He arrived before the old man and hid inside the crowd. When he acted, he was able to steal the celestial sword in one move. "Tian Mozi. You dare to steal from me? Just you wait, your planet, Tianmo, will be wiped out by my Da Lu sword sect. Ha ha, Ling Qian, it would be hard to avoid a fight between the two of us. I'm willing to accompany you at any time." That middle-aged scholar laughed at the old man's threat. He moved even faster when he reached the void. Suddenly, a black vortex appeared and he went into it. This vortex led to his planet. Such speed! He is even faster than my star compass. Wang Lin took a deep breath. All he could see were after images. The white-robed woman didn't even blink. She pointed at another golden dragon. The dragon let out a roar and turned into a curved sword. The old man's eyes lit up and he reached out for the sword, but Tian Yunzi's hand was even closer. The white-robed woman's eyes became cold as she pointed at the old man. The old man shouted and the clothes on his chest were ripped apart as a black fingerprint appeared on his chest. The old man coughed out blood, but his hand didn't slow down as it reached for the celestial sword. The death aura had reached its peak. Her eyes were filled with sadness as she whispered, "If you want this sword, you can have it, but the sword spirit is mine." The moment the old man grabbed the sword, a golden orb appeared and flew toward the woman. She threw it toward the forehead of a golden dragon. This sword belongs to me. The old man laughed while enduring the pain on his chest. He held onto the sword and quickly backed up. The hand behind him suddenly stopped and dodged to the side. It was no longer chasing him. Instead, it grabbed hold of the middle-aged man, who fought with Wang Lin and Kai Hu, and pulled him back into the vortex. The man and the hand quickly disappeared. The moment he disappeared, Qian Yunzi's ancient voice appeared again. Ling Qianhu, you receiving a celestial sword is the will of the heavens, so I won't stop you, but know your own limit. The old man laughed. His eyes landed on the white-robed woman, to whom he grimly said, your attack is a lot weaker than before. This celestial fingerprint wasn't even able to kill me. Seeing that you are a celestial, I won't kill you, but for the last two celestial swords, you can't take their sword spirits. After a celestial sword loses its sword spirit, although it's still an unstoppable sword, it won't have any of its spells anymore. It also requires a new spirit. The sadness in the white-robed woman's eyes increased. She let out a sigh while pointing at one of the gold dragons. The gold dragon collapsed, turning into a large sword that simply floated there. The old man let out a snort while his left hand reached toward the sword. The white-robed woman let out a sigh and pointed at her brow. The last of the celestial spiritual energy in her body was used to create a shield around her to force the old man away. The old man let out an angry roar and viciously waved the celestial sword in his hand at the shield. The shield trembled but didn't shatter. How could the old man be willing to let this happen? He wildly swung the celestial sword and even used spells on the shield. After using the last bit of celestial spiritual energy, the white-robed woman began to slowly close her eyes while the death aura surrounded her. Ju Yi, I'm not the true soul of a celestial king. A celestial king doesn't have any emotions. I'm a broken soul that was somehow formed. I saw you protecting me for 2,000 years, and when you ignited your origin soul, I knew I was formed from your obsession. Thank you. If there is another life, I hope that I'm not a broken soul and that you will still be by my side. A sad cry came from the purple mass on the forehead of the last golden dragon. Ting-er. The white-robed woman's body began to fall. She struggled to point at the last sword. A golden orb floated out of the sword and fused with the last golden dragon. After finishing all of this, she let out a smile of happiness for the first time. It was very beautiful. Thank the heavens, thank the earth, thank fate for letting us meet. The celestial spell can't hide your thousands of years of obsession. Thousands of years of protection allowed this miracle to occur. Your obsession shook the heavens, your emotions shook the earth. For me, you gave up your life. For you, I'm also willing to give up my life. You and I will meet in our next life. When we meet again, don't forget. This life. No. A miserable roar came from the purple mass on the last golden dragon. A ray of purple sword energy charged out from the dragon and took the shape of Ju Yi. 4 golden orbs merged together on Ju Yi's forehead. When they completely merged, an illusionary sword appeared on his forehead, and his entire body started emitting a golden light. However, this golden light didn't give off a gentle feeling, but a deep sense of sadness. The moment Ju Yi charged out, the golden dragon collapsed, revealing a short sword that would be used by females. It floated beside the big sword. This large sword and small sword were like a couple. The white-robed woman closed her eyes and her body fell. With her death, the shield disappeared. Why? Why must you be like this? If I was supposed to die, then I would die. Why must you do all this for me? You die, I live, you live, I die. Could our fate always be like this? No. Ju Yi wanted to hug her, but when he touched her, his body became translucent and went right through her. The sorrow in his eyes could move the heavens. It could move the earth. The female corpse went through his body and fell down. With the shield gone, the 2 celestial swords seemed to follow some sort of attraction, and fell with the female corpse. Looking at the female corpse falling, the sorrow in his eyes became even stronger. Ting-er. I'm not Ting-er. However, the name Ting-er. I like it a lot. I'm only a broken soul born from your obsession. The old man unleashed an angry roar, as he charged toward the 2 celestial swords next to the female corpse. At the same time, his glance swept past Ju Yi with some dread in his eyes. Wang Lin looked at all of this from a distance. A hint of sorrow appeared in his heart. He lives, she dies, she lives, he dies. This was another meaning of life and death. At this moment, Wang Lin suddenly understood something. The words, "You can see a mountain as a mountain, see water as water," gained a new meaning to Wang Lin. Seeing life as life and seeing death as death was only the first layer of the life and death domain. Back in the Four-Sect Alliance, he saw the entire country be destroyed by Xueyu. He saw the soul formation cultivator, who gave him the feather dye and staining Xueyu with his blood. His heart shook. There was a sign of a breakthrough. Life and death are separated by a thin line. Some are clearly dead, but they are now living in someone else's heart. Some are clearly alive, but they start dying if they don't change. Wang Lin's eyes sparkled brighter and brighter. Zhu Yi's death caused Tinga to live, but Tinga's death brought Zhu Yi life. Life and death really did mess with people. However, the life and death of those two hadn't ended, they now existed as a new life in the heart. See life not as life and see death not as death. Wang Lin's eyes were clear. He understood. He seemed to have seen through the life and death domain. His understanding of the life and death domain rapidly increased. He took a deep breath. He knew that his cultivation was about to make a breakthrough. The mid-stage of soul formation was not far away. After reaching the soul formation stage, the understanding of one's domain becomes key. After one has a breakthrough in their domain, then the breakthrough in their cultivation level will come in less than 10 years. It is like how if a container is only the size of a fist, then it can only hold so much liquid. However, the breakthrough of domain is like increasing the size of the container. Although there is still only a fist-sized amount of liquid inside the container, that amount can now increase. When the amount of liquid reaches the limit of the container, then your cultivation will make a breakthrough. At this moment, Lin Qianhu quickly flew toward the woman. He reached out with his hand, his targets were the two celestial swords. Zhu Yi stared dumbfoundedly at the falling woman. His mind was completely blank, there were no thoughts going through his head. However, the old man's action was like pouring cold water on hot oil. This ignited his anger. His body charged out and began to release a golden light. The image of a sword appeared around him as he charged forward. The sky darkened when this image of a sword appeared, and the earth began to crack. The old man's expression changed. He no longer dared to go after the swords. He could feel that inside that image of a sword, there was a power that could destroy everything. Without any hesitation, the old man turned around and let out a roar. He closed his eyes and opened his hands. A sword appeared between them. He threw the sword toward Zhu Yi. Bang! The old man's sword shattered, and the fingerprint on his chest became bigger. This celestial fingerprint is too overbearing. I have been injured today, and I can't use my full power. I have already obtained a celestial sword, too. I'm leaving. The old man backed up and tore the space next to him. A large rift suddenly opened in the void. On the other side of the rift was the Da Lu sword sect. He was about to enter the rift. But just at this moment, the sword Zhu Yi turned into became even faster, and rushed with full force toward the old man. The old man's expression changed greatly as he quickly entered the portal. While he entered, he waved his right hand and the Qilin that was still on the ground finally raised its head. It turned into a ray of light, and returned to the old man. The rift quickly closed, but Zhu Yi was able to enter the rift just before it closed. Until he kills the old man, he won't return. With Zhu Yi chasing the old man, a disaster started for the Da Lu sword sect. All of this happened in only a few breaths of time. After the rift disappeared, the 100 or so cultivators of varying cultivation levels all turned their eyes to the female corpse that was about to hit the ground. The two swords beside the female corpse caused everyone to breath heavily. However, just as the female corpse was about to hit the ground, her and the two swords suddenly turned and flew toward Wang Lin in a ray of white light. Wang Lin was startled. He clenched his teeth and took out the pagoda. The female corpse and the two celestial swords disappeared into the pagoda. Everyone's eyes immediately turned to Wang Lin. Their eyes were filled with greed. Kai Hu's expression was very dark and unsettling. After a bit of deliberation, he took a few steps back. Wang Lin's expression was very sullen. He didn't expect that the female corpse and the two celestial sword would come to him. As a result, he became the target of attention. At this moment, a black-robed elder walked up and said, "Fellow cultivator, if you give me one of the celestial swords, the 8 of us from the Hun Yuan sect will protect you." 7 people appeared behind him. Their eyes were filled with greed. They didn't stop their steps, but continued to walk forward. 3 late-stage soul formation, 8 mid-stage soul formation, and the rest are early-stage soul formation. Wang Lin took a deep breath as he looked around with a cold gaze. His heart sank. There were at least 100 cultivators around, and all of them were at least at the soul formation stage. This was not a situation he could handle. A blue-robed middle-aged man walked up. He looked at the Hun Yuan sect with disdain and said, "Hun Yuan sect, they are trash. Fellow cultivator, if you give me one sword, my Sky Devil sect will ensure your safety." The Hun Yuan sect and Sky Devil sect are full of clowns. Those 2 celestial swords belong to my Everything Heaven and Earth sect. A loud laugh came from the middle of the crowd before a person charged out toward Wang Lin. The moment this person moved, it caused a chain reaction. More than 100 cultivators started charging toward Wang Lin at once. Wang Lin frowned. The first person was already right in front of him. This person was very old with white hair. The look in his eyes showed how much he wanted the swords. This person's cultivation level was mid-stage soul formation. As soon as the old man got close, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He knew that he couldn't back down. If he were to back down now, then he would be in a lot of danger. He raised his hand and pointed at the old man. His life and death domain struck. Just as the old man got close, his eyes suddenly became serious. Wang Lin's movement caused no spiritual energy fluctuation, but a mysterious domain descended upon the old man. An early-stage soul formation cultivator dares to show off his domain before me. The old man had a hint of disdain on his face. Instead of stopping, he began to move even faster. The old man knew that attacking with their domain was a method only soul formation cultivators could use, but he also knew that there were a lot of dangers involved with it. Once it goes wrong, it will cause the user's mind to enter a state of confusion. However, attacking a mid-stage soul formation cultivator like himself with the domain of an early-stage soul formation cultivator was like throwing an egg at a rock. "You're courting death." The old man grinned. He activated his domain from his origin soul to completely wipe out Wang Lin's domain. Wang Lin's eyes remained calm as he softly asked, "What is life?" His eyes were completely clear at this moment, and in his heart he was thinking about the cultivator from the 4-sect alliance who attacked Shuiyu like a moth flying into a flame. The old man's face immediately changed. This domain was very strange. No matter how much he used his own domain, he couldn't stop it. Soon, he was unknowingly merged with the heaven's life and death cycle. He was terrified and wanted to retreat, but before he could even take a step, his face became deathly pale and blood leaked out from the corner of his mouth. He quickly sat down and began to cultivate with his eyes closed. Grey rings suddenly appeared behind Wang Lin and grew larger. A blurry painting appeared inside this ring. However, the ring and the image looked like they would disappear if the wind blew on them. This painting was in black and white, so it was very simple, but when everyone saw what the image was, they all stopped. Their eyes were filled with shock. What kind of domain is this? What kind of domain did this person use to reach the soul formation stage? Why does this black and white painting fill me with fear? Reincarnation. This is the life and death reincarnation cycle. Although black and white are simple, the black represents death and the white represents life. Wang Lin's figure before the black and white painting gave off the feeling of the reincarnation cycle of the heavens. He looked at the old man and asked, "What is death?" A series of images appeared behind the old man and quickly flashed by. Within the images, one could see 2 white-haired old men looking kindly at a middle-aged man who was kneeling before them. This middle-aged man was clearly the old man's younger self. They looked very similar. This person's domain was piety. However, this domain quickly collapsed, and what replaced it was that black and white painting. The old man's body trembled. He suddenly opened his eyes and coughed out a large mouthful of blood. His entire body weakened, his eyes dimmed, his domain was broken, and his Dao heart was forcibly wiped clean. His cultivation level quickly dropped. He was now a soul formation cultivator without a domain. Wang Lin let out a sigh. He walked forward and pointed at the old man's brow with his finger pointed. Bang! The old man's head suddenly exploded in a mess of blood and flesh. His body immediately fell over. My cultivation is at the early stage of soul formation, but just earlier my domain reached the mid-stage of soul formation. Now that my life and death domain has reached the 2nd level, I would even dare to fight Red Butterfly. As for you, Wang Lin's eyes were filled with a mysterious light as he looked around. Just one gaze made everyone ponder, but their greed didn't lessen one bit. In their eyes, although Wang Lin's domain was strong, he was only one person, so he would die no matter what. Wang Lin's eyes remained calmed as he softly asked, "You're still not going to come out?" The moment Wang Lin said those words, the sky rumbled and a huge purple coffin appeared above him. The coffin fell from the sky and landed about a dozen feet in front of Wang Lin. It created shockwaves that spread out in all directions. All of the cultivators backed up with uncertain expressions on their faces. An old man was sitting on top of the coffin. He calmly looked toward Wang Lin with a complicated expression. The old man slowly asked, "You knew I was here?" Wang Lin grinned and said, "Of course I knew, you followed me the entire way." The old man softly snorted. One of the cultivators realized who the old man was and shouted, "The corpse sect." The moment the words corpse sect came out, everyone's expression changed. Scram. The old man was very annoyed as he waved his hand. The two cultivators close to him both coughed out blood and their bodies flew backwards, as if they had been hit by a powerful force. Soul transformation. The surrounding cultivators all took a deep breaths and backed up. The old man from the corpse sect rolled his eyes and stared at Wang Lin. He suddenly smiled and said, "Little guy, how about we make a deal? I'll help you kill these guys and you give me 1,000 years of freedom. In these 1,000 years, I won't look for you and you won't crush my soul for no reason. How about it?" Wang Lin laughed. 1,000 years is too long. What if I die within 1,000 years? The old man was startled. He grabbed his hair and exclaimed, "Ju Yi. I have been tricked by you. If he doesn't even live for 1,000 years, then one of my souls will go down with him." At this moment, the old man finally understood his situation. Both of his eyes were bloodshot, and the frustration building up inside him was about to drive him mad. He viciously stared at Wang Lin before jumping toward the surrounding cultivators. The cultivators backed up one by one, wanting to escape, but they didn't have the power to resist a mid-stage soul transformation cultivator. It was a massacre. Kai Hu stared dumbfoundedly at the scattering cultivators while they were killed. He was in deep shock. Wang Lin's expression still remained the same. He calmly looked around, but didn't say a word. After a long time, the old man came back with a strong murderous aura around him. His eyes were even redder than before, and he stared at Wang Lin with them. After a very long time, he threw a piece of jade that shot out like lightning. Wang Lin caught it. "In these 1,000 years, I'll protect you once. You better stay alive for me." After the old man finished speaking, he stepped onto the coffin and disappeared. Wang Lin pondered for a bit before slapping his bag of holding to take out the star compass. He jumped onto it and then turned around to look at Kai Hu. "Brother Kai Hu, get on. Let us return to Suzaku." Kai Hu took a deep breath before jumping onto the star compass. He opened his mouth to say something to Wang Lin, but he wasn't able to say a word in the end. He took a few steps back earlier, and with just those few steps, the relationship between them regressed. Wang Lin didn't say anymore. He controlled the compass toward the direction of the vortex. After a very long time, Kai Hu said, "Thank you." Wang Lin faintly smiled. He didn't say a word, because he knew what Kai Hu meant. Earlier, all he had to do was say one word and Sun Tai would have killed Kai Hu. Kai Hu took a deep breath and said, "You can rest assured. I will not tell anyone about what happened today. I, Kai Hu, swear upon my giant demon clan." Time slowly passed. Even with the star compass speed, it took some time to go around the fragments to reach the vortex. There were still some cultivators sitting on the platforms talking to each other about the celestial swords. However, everyone who went was killed by Sun Tai, so no one knew who got the celestial swords in the end. When they got close to the vortex, Wang Lin put away the star compass. He and Kai Hu flew the rest of the way and arrived at the platform directly below the vortex after a short while. The two looked at each other. Wang Lin clasped his hands and said, "Brother Kai Hu, let us meet again back in Suzaku." With that, he slapped his bag of holding and the return cauldron appeared in his hand. Kai Hu took a deep breath. He sincerely looked at Wang Lin and said, "Brother Seng, you must come visit me so we can drink together." Wang Lin laughed and nodded. He activated the return furnace and a vortex appeared before him. He looked at the celestial realm one more time, before stepping into the vortex and disappearing. Kai Hu slapped his bag of holding and took out his return cauldron as well. He activated it and walked into the vortex, just as Wang Lin did. Many things happened in these past few months, but the one thing that shocked everyone in rank 4, or higher cultivation countries, was that the core disciple of Suzaku, Red Butterfly, had lost an arm to someone. With the destruction of the 4-sect alliance, and Xueyu becoming a rank 5 cultivation country, her fame had exploded within the planet. The rumors about her never ended, like how she had reached the late stage of soul formation in only 100 years, and how she was accepted as a core disciple of Suzaku. These things were still talked about by cultivators. Not many people knew that Red Butterfly had obtained a rain cauldron and had entered the celestial realm. However, 5 months ago, all of the rank 5 cultivation countries gathered at the Suzaku altar for the conference that was held every 100 years. This conference was halfway through when a vortex suddenly opened up in the sky and Red Butterfly fell out. She had lost an arm, and she only said one thing before passing out. Seng Nyo. This was the name Red Butterfly said while gritting her teeth before passing out. All of the messengers from the rank 5 cultivation countries were stunned. Soon, the news of Red Butterfly losing an arm and spitting out the name Seng Nyo quickly began spread. The name Seng Nyo suddenly became more famous than even Red Butterflies. It became the brightest star in the planet. Everyone was guessing what planet this Seng Nyo came from. At some point, Red Butterfly woke up and spoke of Seng Nyo's identity. This Seng Nyo is from Suzaku, and he's from the Seng family. The moment this information came out, the entire planet was shocked. The first thing that happened was the Seng family ancestors looked through their family registry. They really did find someone named Seng Nyo. However, this family member was not even 30 years old and was only at the foundation establishment stage. The ancestor took the family member and the family registry to Suzaku to prove their innocence. As a result, rumors about Seng Nyo became a popular topic among cultivators. There were even more cultivators looking around trying to find the true identity of this mysterious cultivator, but none of them succeeded in the end. The country of Suzaku reacted to all of this like nothing even happened, which was very rare. The person named Seng Nyo became the number 1 youngster in Suzaku. Despite the Seng family saying that this Seng Nyo might not really be named Seng, few people believed them and many people came to visit. This caused the Seng Nyo from the Seng family to be terrified, but also a bit proud. This matter suddenly surged again, when the giant demon clan's young master returned 3 months ago. Kai Hu's return caused many people to come visit, and Suzaku even sent someone to come to investigate the matter relating to Seng Nyo. Kai Hu didn't say a word about Seng Nyo, and when he was pressured by the messenger from Suzaku, he only said one thing. I don't know this person's true name, I only know that he is called Seng Nyo. This person's cultivation is unfathomable, and as for his grudge with Red Butterfly, I don't know the reason. However, from what I have seen, it was fellow cultivator Red Butterfly who continued to act against him. In the end, Seng Nyo was forced to act as well. If I have said any lies, then let my soul dissipate. After Kai Hu said all of this, he immediately entered closed-door cultivation and refused to see visitors. This statement was somehow leaked and spread like wildfire. This made the name Seng Nyo resurge everywhere and made it even more famous. Subsequently, once Red Butterfly had recovered, she sent out a message through Suzaku saying, Seng Nyo, our battle is not over. I'm waiting for you to find me. Seng Nyo, who the hell are you? This question wasn't only in the hearts of Kai Hu and Red Butterfly, but in everyone's minds. Who really was this Seng Nyo? Although Red Butterfly had recorded a portrait of Seng Nyo, Suzaku never released it. No one knew what Suzaku was thinking. In a small sect in some rank 4 cultivation country, a middle-aged man muttered to himself, Seng Nyo, that is my dad's name. His name was Seng Daniu. Clouds covered the sky in the area where Wang Lin entered the celestial realm. Lightning flashed across the sky and rain fell endlessly. This storm had already lasted more than a month. Very few cultivators would come outside in this rain, and even fewer mortals. One day, 2 swords flew across the sky. There was a gentle light that blocked out the rain, and inside the light there was an old man and a young woman. Half of the old man's hair was white, and wrinkles had begun to appear on his face. The young girl was about 17 or 18 years old and was quite beautiful. The girl laughed. Teacher, traveling in this rain consumes a lot of spiritual energy, so it is a good training method. The old man laughed. Correct. If you remain this diligent, you will be able to reach the core formation stage within 10 years. The girl suddenly asked, Teacher, what cultivation level do you think Seng Nyo have reached to be able to take an arm from Red Butterfly? Could he have reached the legendary soul transformation stage? Seng Nyo is a senior far above us. How can someone like me judge him? However, my guess is that this person is a late-stage soul formation cultivator, instead of soul transformation, or else Red Butterfly wouldn't have just lost an arm, she would have died. A thunderous roar rang in their ears right when Old Man finished speaking. There was suddenly a lot more lightning in the sky, and within the lightning a giant vortex appeared. Part 1 end here.